What's up, everybody? This is Dominic D'Angelo of the FourHorsemenNetwork.com and OneTrueSportTV.com, and we are live on a Thursday evening, Thursday afternoon, and it is Straight Talk with the boss, Magnum TA and Greg Gagne. Magnum, man, you were being the boss, weren't you, a little bit earlier ago, weren't you?
Yeah, I had to, I had to save that for off camera because I don't want to scare those millions of people away that are waiting for that next pearl of wisdom to come out of any of our mouths.
We'll have plenty of pearls of wisdom to drop, I'm sure, today. We've got some good stuff to talk about. But yes, we're live, so if you guys want to chime in, get your questions in for Greg or Magnum. We'll be happy to answer them. If you use the super chat, that gets you to the front of the line. But yes, lots of interesting, fun stuff to kind of cover, I think, this week.
Before we start, Dom, you have to remind me to tell this great Andre story before.
When we talk about Andre, yeah, we'll get to him though. Yeah,
okay.
But yeah, I'll keep.
Put that in the back.
I'm putting a pin in it right now. Putting a pin in it. We're gonna get to Andre for sure, guys. Don't you worry. I did want to ask you guys, did you get a chance to catch Raw this week? And it was in Calgary, and so who showed up? Bret the Hitman Hart, and they did a neat segment with somebody we've been talking about quite a bit in Gunther and Sami Zayn. Magnum, did you get to catch any of that?
I caught that whole piece of the show, and yeah, I was really interested to see what they would do. And Gunther certainly was in very good heel form, and the line about his favorite was just like over the top, And I really think a lot of you're second only to Bill Goldberg. I about fell off my bed onto the floor and lost it. I mean, he is, just delivering great monologues, carries himself, absolutely fantastic. And, it was a good piece. You're going to be a heel.
Right? And he was totally that. Greg, did you get to catch it too?
I caught parts of it.
Uh-huh.
And Gunther is, man, it's to watch him from when he first was on there to where he is now. He's a fantastic piece of talent for him, and they've really got it rolling. Every match meant something. Every segment meant something, and it's driven to that next pay-per-view. And you got to give them a kudos for what they're doing. They've taken wrestling to a different place than we all would have liked it to gone back in our day. But you go back to Vince McMahon, and he was a prick, and and stole everybody's talent. But he had a vision, and I remember Pat Patterson when he used to be with the AWA.
Mm-hmm.
He used to talk about wrestling the way it is today with the WWE.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, he used to say you need gowns and you need the whole Hollywood production,
mm-hmm.
and you need the matches like that. And I've always thought, Pat, you're what are you smoking? You're out of your mind, But give the people what they want. It's entertainment. It's not wrestling. It's entertainment. And it's the circus coming to town, or the new TV series coming to town, and they've got all these wonderful characters, personalities. They've got the costumes, and they all have the lyrics down or their talk, their interview.
Yeah.
And going back to our generation, looking back then, and somebody telling you that, they go, "You're out of your mind." This is a real deal in there, and that's the way we're going to do it.
Mm-hmm. Greg, I think your audio is going in and out a little bit. Magnum, you noticed that too? Yeah, just a little
because
bit.
I'm getting worked up over this thing.
You are getting worked up.
Vince McMahon, once I bring up his name, I get all fired up.
It gets you all angry.
Yeah.
The guy's got enough heat. He needs to make a comeback and do one more angle because he's like really he's the heel of heels.
He's the ultimate heel right now.
Oh
Who?
yeah,
Me?
No, not you.
No, I'm talking about
Vince.
No, I heard that the Netflix show is just going to murder him. I mean, just it's a full blown burial job, and there's some people aren't real happy that they took such a hard approach on. I haven't seen it, of course, but I mean that the spoilers are kind of saying it's pretty harsh, which there's pretty harsh things there to deal with in that subject matter. You're not going to have a lot of flowers for somebody at this point in time.
When do they start on Netflix?
So that starts September 25th. It's a
September 25th?
6-part series that they're going to do. I don't know how long each episode is. It's either, I don't know if it's like a 30-minute show or an hour. I would imagine it's an hour.
That's interesting because when I was talking about this one I watched the other night, this Perfect Couple,
right?
It was only 5 or 6 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
But it was really well done. Like I said, the first 2 episodes, I thought, Laura, what do you got me watching this thing for? And then, man, it kicked in, and it's really worth watching. It's a lot of fun. I believe
it. Yeah, some of those smaller dose kind of series are really, you get invested into that little small pack. It doesn't take up all your time. You don't have to sit there and binge watch. And I think with this McMahon thing, yeah, Magnum, I heard the same thing too, that he's gonna the gloves are gonna go off when it comes to that. And if you look at it from the WWE perspective, you kind of want to put that all in the past as much as you can. Be like, hey, we're along for this ride because this was Vince. He's no longer part of the company. We're looking forward. We're looking forward to Netflix, Raw being on Netflix. We're looking forward to being more of sports oriented and certain things like that. This is a completely different vision. This is Triple H's vision, not Vince McMahon's anymore. And so I could definitely see them probably going double barrel on Vince on this for sure.
Did anybody see that documentary on Netflix of Vince McMahon?
The new one?
Yeah.
So that one's not coming out until...
That's what we're talking about.
That's the one we're talking about.
That's what you're talking about. And that one, okay. Mm-hmm. And that hasn't come out yet, has it?
No, that's the September 25th one.
Oh, that's the September 25th.
That's the September 20th.
Okay.
So they announced it, and then we saw the graphic, and then they aired a little trailer, a 2-minute trailer of it. And
I pulled up last couple nights to watch it, and it says not available.
Yeah, it won't be until...
I thought maybe they pulled it already.
Oh no, no, they're gonna, they're sending that baby out there.
Yeah, they're gonna do their damage with that deal.
Yeah.
Well, back to wrestling though, I was really pleasantly surprised with the Wyatt Sicks, how that whole thing, came into being, because I was afraid they would really have a hard time pulling it together as a group.
Yes.
And man, that match had it all. I mean, they told some stories throughout that craziness that was absolutely phenomenal, and they all played a good role in it. I mean, everybody.
Yeah.
It was great. Magnum, something I just noticed, you're talking all these different stories that were going on in there. You think about what they were doing, Nikki Cross in the ring, but you also somebody like Eric Rowan, where he got he had a whole story told on there. He got put through a table, was out, and then he powers through and just knocks the crap out of all the America's Top Team, and it was all. And then Bo Dallas gets involved a little bit, and you see all these elements coming into play. And it's kind of fascinating because, they have this dark, almost Raven's Flock type of vibe, but they're baby faces, and they're ultimately baby faces.
And that spot with Nikki Cross, that suplex, I mean, I mean, this may be the best version of her we've ever seen. I mean, she's unhinged and a whale of an athlete. And my gosh, I mean, I was impressed.
Me too. What'd you think, Greg? Did you get to see
it? Oh God, it was phenomenal. That's what I mean about what the WWE has done is taken wrestling and these segments they have, and with that crew right there, I mean, it's a story. It's a Hollywood freaking story.
Yeah.
And the characters in it are absolutely phenomenal.
They really are. They really are.
The little girl that crossed, holy God, out. she
that belly back suplex was as good as anyone I've seen a guy throw in a really long time.
Wasn't it? Me too. I said, Jesus. Yeah.
I was impressed.
I was too.
It's pretty neat to see that how like well honed like women's wrestling is in a lot of ways. You see a lot of these matches, and I always think back about the Sasha Banks and Bayley match from 2015 in Brooklyn, and how that was such a show stealer. And some of these women matches, they really do steal the show. Like they're like some of those, and the way the stories are built up a lot of the times, those are kind of the matches you want to see a lot of the times. It's kind of it's pretty neat. It's definitely neat. And Nikki Cross, yeah, I love her in this role. I think she's great. She's like a spark plug. She's like unpredictable. It's really, really fun. I think the Wyatt Sicks.
She's really got that look too.
She doesn't.
You
Wow.
look at that. And you just look at the outfits and take one look at her face, and she does look crazy.
Yeah. She fits the role really well. I also like too how the Wyatt Sicks, they don't wrestle with the masks on. I mean, Bo Dallas does, but I think overall having that kind of humanizing them is pretty important, I think, in this thing. So I like that as well.
Yeah, agreed.
Let me see what. Oh, I did want to touch upon what Bret Hart did have to say about his experience there and it being Calgary and everything like that. So he says a lot of great memories, a lot of title matches, a lot of even in the old Stampede wrestling days. I have a lot of memories here. He says it's kind of a funny feeling to walk down the ring slowly and kind of pull yourself back into the ring and just find yourself standing in the corner, the center of it, talking to the fans. But I mean, I don't know if I looked a little nervous because I'm not sure that I was, but I was standing in the middle of the ring for a few seconds. This transformation takes place. I mean, I think I'm transformed back into Bret the Hitman Hart for a minute for everyone. And it was fun for me to do that. And it was something that was magical and that brought out the love of the fans. And then he also said how it was nice to see Triple H back there too and everything like that. Kind of wanted to get your guys' perspective. Is there certain moments too where it's like you get kind of taken back into the moment of that, like whether it's like making an appearance of some sort or anything like that? Do you kind of get that feeling a lot? That what Bret's saying too? Greg, let's start with you on that one.
Yeah, I mean, every time you step in that ring, it brings back the memories of what it was like. And, I've done some appearances where they have the wrestling matches and, get invited up into the ring. And as soon as you get in that ring, it's a whole different feeling. Mm-hmm. It all comes back to you. I want to make a comeback. You want to throw a couple drop kicks. Get those people going again. And you feel like you still have it. It's in your body and you get that feeling, and it's hard to explain unless you've been in that environment like both of us have been. And, I'm amazed at the gentleman that we work with there, TA, in the short time he was in the wrestling and what he meant to professional wrestling and what he brought to the game in such a short career. And I think about it a lot, and I'm amazed how the way he handles it, because it's got to be very, very depressing to have been at that stage of your career, and then all of a sudden it ends like that. But he has handled that injury and that accident better than anybody I've ever known. And I'm amazed every time I see him, every time I talk to him, and I think about those things when I'm laying in bed at night. This guy was the epitome of professional wrestling. He was the guy for the NWA.
Yeah.
And I feel for him every time.
Well, Magnum.
I shouldn't be spilling my guts like this out, but I really am, TA. I'm so proud to really be a friend of yours.
Absolutely.
And it just, I think about it a lot.
Magnum, it is impressive, and we talked about it too before. How, like, the awesome perspective you have about it all, and your career being cut short like that, and then just just readjusting and having that positive perspective on it too, and it really speaks to, and you can just tell by the work ethic that you have that you don't let anything deter you in that way. This is pretty neat to see for sure.
Well,
Magnum.
I had 5 months in a hospital to kind of try to work it all out.
Mm-hmm.
And, I had the psychologist coming around and telling me straight up that, for an athlete, it's the absolute worst, because what most people would consider getting back to, something normal for them, might be, sitting at a desk, doing a desk job, or something on a phone, or something with computers, or who knows, whatever. But the expectations that we put on what we call success
Mm-hmm.
is so over the top, and we did it like every day, so it became second nature.
Right.
So when you have to all of a sudden, measure success with something that is more difficult to do than any of those things I did in the ring, that to the naked eye or to the average person, walking by would just, they feel bad for you. They go, oh my gosh, that's all they can accomplish. But when you've had nothing, and I mean nothing you can move but your head, and nothing from the neck down, and have lost all motor nerve function completely,
Yeah.
and have been given a prognosis that basically you got 1,000,000 to 1 shot of ever doing anything but sitting up and have somebody feed you and take care of you for the rest of your life. It's going to go one way or the other. You're either going to, like dig in and apply every work ethic, value, and thing that you've used your entire life to get where you've been, and things that you've accomplished, and learn how to change the switches in your head to find satisfaction in things that how difficult they are. I mean, what I go through every morning, just getting out of bed and getting ready to go and do all the things I do just to get ready for the day, is harder than any 1 hour Broadway I ever did in a wrestling ring.
Man.
And you do it every day. It's Groundhog Day. You do this thing over and over and over again. But again, it's all that battle is, it's a physical thing, but to Greg's point, it's so psychological. And even I've heard Flair, talk about, when he tried to like retire a little bit the first time,
Mm-hmm.
and how it just messed him all up. He had no identity. He'd been Ric Flair for so long, he didn't know how to do anything else. That's what brings him satisfaction and a feeling of accomplishment, and makes you feel relevant. And it's a very, very tough thing to do. But I will say, even in my physical, state, which is limiting the things I can do besides being 65 years old, that being in that environment,
Mm-hmm.
it is a comfort level that I can't really explain. Just like Greg said, I could be at an AEW show or a WWE show and sitting backstage and just watching the guys come to and from, and just being in the environment and knowing that you feel like you're at home.
Right.
It's very hard to put into words. It's not, you feel not one bit out of place. If anything, you feel like the world, everything's synced up all of a sudden, like, because you've been doing all the things you deal with in the real world and in life, and all the stuff that goes on there, because we lived in a different world.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful for having had the experience, but I'm equally thankful for the fact that, first of all, it didn't take me out, and I was able to prove some people wrong that might have thought that I wouldn't have persevered, because it's been 30 plus years. In 1986 was just a minute ago, right?
Yeah.
And so over half my life has been as it is today. But I'm thankful for every day, and I wish it could be, certain things could be different, but I also know how drastically worse it could be, and I think that's where you're able to draw that perspective.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, the work ethic that TA has is absolutely unbelievable. I mean, I'm so glad that I got him to partner up with us with Powertown, because without him, I don't know if we would where we would be right now. And his work ethic, he's doing 2 jobs at one time. You know, it's amazing to me. But it just goes back to, to the days when we had that athletic ability and what the drive inside was like. And once you get that, you really don't lose it. You might lose it physically, but when you approach other things like the businesses we're running, we go balls out and all into it because that's our nature.
Right.
That's the nature of our sport. And I was fortunate to be able to play football too, and college football. And, it was pretty much the same feeling. But I can't tell you, once you step in that ring and once you get that crowd into your personality, it's something you never lose. And I think if I was 100 years old and I stepped in the ring and you feel that
it would get you back.
You think you can still do it and you want to still.
Right. That's the thing too.
Yeah. And
we're losing you a little bit, Greg.
Yeah, he's
he's gone.
He's an amazing partner to have.
Oh, Greg, we lost you for a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, your visual and audio went out just a little bit. You froze.
You guys both went out on me.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I thought it was getting so boring that you just shut me off.
Oh no.
Quit talking. Give him the hook.
We'd never do that, Greg. Not to you.
Yeah, you did. I got the message loud and clear. Go ahead, get to a question or something. I'm done.
Well, so Darren Staley, he's running for New York. No, not New York. Oh my gosh, North Carolina Senate. Darren, thanks for the $5. He says I was fully disabled for almost 10 years, and he reiterates what you said, Magnum. The psychological factor is equal or greater to than the physical aspect of it all. I could only believe that. It's all mental. A lot of it's mental, but yeah, in tandem with
it. It is. And to Greg's point, and so much of everything you do that you push beyond your boundaries is a psychological game, and trying to overcome any kind of adversity is if you can't beat it mentally and get it in your head, get an approach. I mean, there's like every challenge that I see is always like an opportunity to come up with a different way to solve something. It's like, I mean, some really bad stuff sometimes, and sometimes it's so, it may seem so overwhelming that you don't think you're gonna be able to breathe, and then you step back and you look at it from a different perspective and find a different approach or a different way to do something. So those things apply whether you're working in public service and trying to cajole people into doing something you want to do politically, or whether it's people you work with in a workplace or whatever. There's nothing is just smooth sailing in life. It takes that kind of, it's just like a big chess game of sorts. And we certainly live in a world where some people exercise their brains and those skill sets, and some just sit back and like take part in it and watch it. And I feel a little sorry for this generation in whole that don't have something to latch onto, whether it be sports or academics or some career that they're pursuing, because it's so easy to get lost in this world of social media and living vicariously through other people's adventures and their adventures in life and what they're doing, and never get out of the park. And when I was in the rehab and watching the different people around me, the ones that were able to do the best were the ones that you could tell, some of them, like older people that grown up in farm, worked hard, and had that just hard background, had that ability to take a task and dig in and overcome something an inch at a time, if that's what it took to do it, and never gave up. And folks that had never had to push themselves physically and psychologically don't have the skill sets. They don't have anything to draw from. Never done it. Never been up against something that they couldn't just okay. Well, I don't like doing this anymore. I'll push a button and move over to this thing.
Right.
That's not reality, unfortunately.
Right. And that goes down to like parenting.
I must be having internet connections.
You must be a little bit of internet connections and stuff
sorry
like
about that. I lost you guys again.
That's all right. Maybe that you exiting and entering might help too. Sometimes
that's what I did.
That's what you did. Hopefully it works then.
I got a question for you, Dom.
Okay.
I saw that you had an interview with Ricochet.
Oh, no, I didn't have an interview with. No, I didn't. I want to interview Ricochet. Oh, that was that was a deceptive graphic. Then I see what you're thinking, though.
That made it look like you were going to.
It did, didn't it? It looks like I was right in the middle of it all. So I was doing the Dynamite review after the show, as I was talking about, and that was one of the matches. Obviously, it was Ricochet going with Sammy Guevara there, and they had a great match, though. I will say that much. Ricochet.
Guevara showed his stuff, man. I mean, he was like, I mean, when they did that spot in the beginning, and they were doing all those mirrored moves of each other's, and then they went out and Guevara climbed up on top of the thing, did the moonsault off the deal. I mean, Sammy can hang. I mean,
he can.
He could go, but no, I thought you had some inside, like you got the big scoop.
He's a bucket list interview I want to do for sure.
I have a question about AEW.
Sure.
Now, MJF
and
what's the other kid? Strickland?
Swerve. Yep.
They're both taking time off.
Yeah, that's the reports.
Do you think they are setting themselves up to go to the WWE?
No, I don't think so. No, definitely not.
Signed big contracts.
Yeah, Swerve is signed. He's at least signed through 2028. So he's there for the long haul. MJF, we don't know the length of his contract, but he's there for a pretty good amount of time too.
I'm seeing some of these numbers on some of the contracts in the WWE, and boy,
pretty crazy.
Damn, I wish we could turn the clock back a little bit.
I know, right? Get more than a hot dog and a ham sandwich.
Oh God Almighty! Yeah.
Holy smokes! Yeah, that has all kind of changed, but yeah, no. Swerve is locked in. MJF is locked in. They I think Swerve, during his contract negotiation, did express that he just wanted to take a little time off during since he's been going for the past several years. So,
how are their ratings?
They got some work to do. It's like still good. Like they're going to get a new TV deal. They're on the precipice of getting a new TV deal with Turner and everything like that. So in that regard, they're in good but definitely the ratings are down. Their attendance is dropping. They definitely need to do some correct course things, and it seems like what they kind of did somewhat on Dynamite this past yesterday, looks like they're really kind of trying to call some audibles in regards to what their Grand Slam event's going to look like. So I'm curious. I'm optimistic for them. I want to see them do the right, like get bigger and better and all that stuff, because that elevates all products. So hopefully they do it, and Ricochet is somebody that they can really hang their hat on, I think. We talked about Kyle Fletcher. Magnum, I did want to make mention. I just saw a little bit of a promo he did on Dynamite at the beginning of the show. And his facials, his inflection and stuff, you can tell he's going to have that connection with the fans, like not just from a ring perspective, but outside the ring too.
I think he is a megastar in the making. I mean, like all he needs is the right opportunity and the right program with the right guy, and whew, yeah. I mean, I don't know what his status is with who, what, where, when, but man, that guy he's got more potential than any young guy I've seen in a while.
Yeah, he definitely does. What else did I want to talk about? I forgot to bring this up last week and get your guys' perspective on this. Joe Tessitore as the WWE Raw announcer now, coming from ESPN. And
Who is?
Joe Tessitore, the new Raw announcer.
Yeah.
Kind of wanted to get your guys' thoughts on what you think he's been doing for the product. Do you like him in this role as the lead commentator? And what do you think of his work so far, Greg?
Oh, I think it's phenomenal. I mean, when you get a guy with that background he has, with ESPN and sports in general, it just adds more credibility to the program. And I listened to him the other night, and I thought he did a fantastic job.
I agree. Yeah, I really like.
Sometimes you get some of those announcers get in and they let their ego get in the way and they let that take over. And no, he made it all about the wrestlers and all about the wrestling. He did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, I was really happy with him. Magnum, what did you think of him so far?
Oh, fantastic. I mean, he's a throwback to, I mean, it was reminding me of, back 20 years ago. And, and that kind, I mean, just really classy, really to Greg's point. I mean, he's playing his role. He's enhancing everything they want enhanced, and he knows how to do his job like a pro. So, yeah, he's nothing but money.
Yeah, what I really like about him, and you mentioned it too, is that he got that sports background, so he kind of knows when to amp up the volume, when to lay out, and like kind of things where like he'll let a moment kind of ride, where he'll be like he'll add one little word or something for things going on, but then when something egregious happens, he'll get into the wrestling mode, like, oh, how dare that person do that, or this is despicable, and makes you the voice. He's the voice of the fans, basically, and he does a very good job at doing that and conveying that, I think.
And it's not an easy thing to do. If someone hasn't ever done it, you might think you can, but to sit out there and call a match or work a whole hour program, and because it's not radio, you don't have to talk nonstop the whole time. You want to enhance and talk about what's going on, and sometimes you're making it you're embellishing it more than what's actually taking place, or sometimes you're just really registering just like a fan would, just sitting watching the same thing. I worked color with Jim Ross for I don't know, maybe a year and a half or so, and he was such a pro. He was really enjoyable to work with. Work with Tony Schiavone some too, but that is not just nothing about it is a cakewalk. It's hard work, to do it well and think about it and do the kind of things like Bobby Heenan did, and different guys over the years that sat in the chair and helped make it a better product to watch.
Magnum, did you like your time on commentary?
I enjoyed like the big events. My favorite was I worked a pay-per-view with Jim Ross in Chicago, and it was so exciting and so loud. And of course, we had the cans on our heads, but it was so loud that you really had to have them on, or you couldn't even hear yourself talk. I mean, the people were so just into everything that was going on, and that was fun to have that level of excitement and be pumped up and do a big event. But doing it week in and week out, I worked the Superstation show, some for 6 months or so with him too, and that could be laborious. But again, it was tough time because I was only like 28, 29 years old, and to stand there and talk about something that in your soul, in your heart, you wanted to be out there performing, and you're trying to speak passionately about people doing something that in some cases you might have felt like you could have been doing a little bit better, or what not, was that was a really tough thing to negotiate. I'll be quite honest.
I could believe that for sure. Where it's just like, yeah, you're watching, you're like, damn it, they're doing that all wrong, or I could do that a whole lot fucking better. It's like,
well,
you think so? Yeah.
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 What I wanted to kind of follow up on with both of you guys, you talked about like how it brings you back when you get to those. How it brings you back when you're like involved in wrestling, and like you get those feels, like the itch and the vibe of it all. I kind of wanted to get when you guys were done, basically, what was something for each of you that kind of, now you can't completely like find a perfect substitute for what you were doing in the ring. But what was a supplement that you put a lot of your attention on, like after you got done with the ring work and everything? Magnum, what was it a big thing for you? You invest a lot of time and redirected a lot of your passion into that.
Well, I started a construction company back in the early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Got involved in telecom construction. And and it was a very mentally challenging thing and new thing to learn. And I also was very hands on. I had a thing called a boom truck, which is like a small crane that I operated myself for about 5 years. I probably have 3,000 hours of operating time,
Wow.
working that thing. And in doing so, I learned a completely new skill set, but I was also doing the same kinds of things like we did in the business. I was interacting with people. I had a crew, people that worked for me. I was in charge, and they were looking at me for direction and keeping everybody in between the ditches and keeping them safe and dealing with all the personality things that go on. And it was just all the things you deal with. The more people that work for you, you're not only their boss, but you're taking care of their families and all their problems and their hot water heater going out when they're going out on the road for 5 days and all those things. So I completely engulfed myself in a completely different industry than ever thought about being in, and learn just some crazy skill set things about, like I said, a whole different industry that I've now been in for over 30 years.
Yeah.
And I got satisfaction in the day building things, because we built 300-foot tall towers in about 4 days.
Whoa.
And when you're sitting there, the guy
They're
pulling
still
the lever.
standing?
They still standing?
Are they still standing?
Yeah,
You built them in 4 days?
yeah, 4 days. So, and I perfected. And the first one I did took me a week, and I kept, it's like a giant Lego set. But my brain, I was like working how to make it faster, more efficient, whatever. And we got down the best we ever did. We did a 300-footer in 3 days.
Wow.
But again, you got paid per the job. It wasn't by the hour. So if I could get one built in 3 or 4 days and get another one done, do 2 a week and 6 a month, that I started a little business that the seed money was 20 grand, and within a year we did $1 million worth of business in a year.
Holy smokes.
Fantastic.
That's awesome. That's really awesome.
Yeah. And again, just learn to put all the same work ethic, principles and things in, and then all the things I learned with working at Turner Broadcasting in corporate America, I parlayed into now working for a company I've been with for 17 years, and I worked with them in a corporate capacity in the beginning, and it's changed into a different role today. But all those communication skill set things that I learned through doing all these different things came into play to enable me to do that. And then of course, Greg brings me into the power town where wrestling lives on, and now my brain keeps stretching more and more. So he thinks I need to keep exercising it and have new challenges, and it's a lot of fun. I joke about it, but all kidding aside, it's been almost 3 years we've been working on this thing, and it to start something at this age with this big of a footprint of things that we're working on and working with, and people and completely outside the wrestling industry projects and things that we have in the works, that it's just crazy, that truly the adventure never ends until you want it to end, because there's always something out there if you keep pushing ahead and keep your head on a swivel and keep your head straight. Don't get in trouble.
Right? That's it. But the neat thing is like doing this kind of stuff, like at any age is great for you. But I know like investing your time and even starting new projects or doing new things that you weren't used to, that like keeps you young and involved with everything too. I think, I just see that happen with a lot of people. Like a guy, he was a former Marine and a former prison guard. He would just work at Whole Foods just like 3 days a week just to keep interacting with people and stuff like that and keep it going. And it's just like, you just find that kind of solace in that. Greg, how about you? What was something for you that you kind of put your head and your mind at after retiring?
I liked being in wrestling, but I just didn't quite fit in the corporate structure that the WWE had.
Sure. Yeah.
I had come from where Vern made all the decisions and I helped make those decisions to now I have to listen to everybody else making the decisions, and I might not agree with what the direction they're going.
Sure.
So that didn't work out so well for me. But I was also, our wrestling program has phenomenal ratings throughout the Midwest and to the West Coast that had opportunities. I did a lot of commercials.
Mm-hmm.
And for one in particular car company, I did like 93 commercials for them, and they had the most sales they've ever had in the years that I was with them. Then they brought me in as a salesperson and a manager, because of the name, basically, and I was honest and fair with people, and they got good deals from me. And they would get on my butts about it sometimes, the management. I said, "Hey, you're selling more cars than you've ever sold."
Yeah.
And I said, "And you have a good reputation now."
That's it.
I said, "I think that means more than anything. It's not just the car business and the way you guys ran it. We've now brought a whole different buyer to your product because of credibility. And that's what I brought to the table for them."
How about that?
But the most satisfying thing that I ever did, and I was able to do this when I was wrestling a little bit, but more so when I got out, was coaching football and baseball.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I had more fun with that and more satisfaction. I took they started in third grade in the football.
Uh-huh.
And it was, you just basically they broke it up into almost the neighborhoods, but we had 6 of them. And my background in college football, I brought in the old Wyoming offense to third graders and was teaching them how to trap block and do all this stuff. We never got beat. And I had them throwing the ball in the third grade.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I had these kids all the way up to freshmen. And even when they became freshmen, the coach at the school asked me to come up and put in the offense for them. I said, "You don't have to put it in. Most of them know it."
You laid it in there. You got it embedded in their mind.
I think in the whole time from third grade with JP up to 9th grade, they lost 1 game.
My goodness.
And then we had it was really funny because this one group at Burnsville, oh shoot, what did I lose you again?
No, you're still here.
I lost the picture.
Uh-oh, we're still here. Can you hear us?
Yeah. Okay. So anyhow, we get this challenge from this team, and they're a bigger suburb than us, much better, much bigger. And they said, "What we'd like to do is every year we have an all-star. We have 4 teams, and we make an all-star team, and we've never been beat." And I said, "Oh, really?" And he said, "Yeah, and he said, I think what we could do, we'd like to play it in a big venue." And I said, "Well, let me call the people at the Dome, the Metrodome in Minneapolis."
What?
Yeah. So I got them on the phone, and they let us bring the kids in to play. So we go in there, and the kids are in 6th grade. And this team now, they've got 4 teams of all-stars, right? And we got just our team. We beat them 56-6. And the coach, he'd been bragging about how good they were. And I said, well, I shook his hand and I said, "Hey, what's your record now?" So that's what gave me a lot of satisfaction.
You're like Fat Eddie Felson in the Hustler.
Oh, God.
Like Paul Newman.
Well, I've lost you guys completely. I don't even know how to get back on.
You can hear us though, Greg?
I can hear you. I can't see you.
Oh
Well,
man,
we can see you.
we see
Yeah.
ya.
All right.
We see
I'll
you
just
already.
stay here. I'll stay like here with this blank screen in front of me.
We'll let you know if you're completely gone.
All right. Let me know if I am.
All right, let's take a couple of super chats here and some questions asked. Instagram, a wrestling historian, Mr. Allen, what was supposed to be inside the envelope that Baby Doll gave to Dusty Rhodes? It was never revealed in the storyline. Thank you. The envelope to Baby Doll that Baby Doll gave to Dusty. What was in there, Magnum? Do you know?
I have no earthly idea.
Wow.
Probably nothing.
Hey,
Probably nothing. Hey, you're back. All right.
Good.
Darren Staley, thanks for the $5. 1985, shoot fist fight. Who would win, Arn or TA? Also, Greg and TA, who would you most not want to shoot fight in the day? Okay, who would win between you and Arn in a shoot fight, Magnum?
I don't know. I think Arn probably thinks he was in a shoot fight with me. I think I broke his poor nose one day. He leaned into that daggone back fist I used to throw. Jeez. I mean, Arn was a big, rough, rugged guy. I'm not even going to dignify that with an answer. But
Right.
I can tell you that there was a host of people that you wouldn't want to hit you. I mean, like a host of them. There weren't. I'm not even talking about wrestling at this point. I'm just getting hit. You wouldn't want to get hit by the Road Warriors. You wouldn't want to get hit by Steve Dr. Death Williams. You wouldn't want to get hit by any of those guys. So, and pretty much we all had the capacity to hurt somebody in about 15 seconds. So, you quickly would not have anybody to work with if you ever went down that path. But there's not too many people that I would have just said, go ahead and tee off on me and I'll see how it works out.
Right, you're not open yourself up to that. You've gotten hit before. You just don't want to have it just actually happen.
There's guys. I mean, like if I told the story, stop me. The first time I wrestled Mad Dog. I ever tell that story?
I don't recall yet. No, go ahead.
So, I'd see my dad, when growing up, see him come home after Mad Dog, get scratches all over him and bite marks on him. And I'm going, God almighty, now I got to wrestle the guy. So I said to my dad, I said, hey, Dad, what do I do with this guy? And he said, hit him twice as hard as he hits you. And I said, and good luck.
Godspeed.
So I went in and he hit me with an open hand, and it was like a cement block hitting me. I could feel it down in my feet, and he hit me again, and I hit him back a couple times, and finally I got him good enough where he lost his equilibrium. So I grabbed a leg and I took him down. And when I did, I took a deep breath, and he scratches down the back of my back. Oh my God. So I wrestled about 25 minutes with him. I came back in the locker room and I'm bleeding and I'm scratched up. And I said, God almighty. And Brunzell's laughing at me. And I said, hey, you got him Friday night in Denver. Good luck. So we get to Denver and he said, what do I do with him? I said, hit him twice as hard as you. That's what Fred said. Well, then what? And I said, good luck.
Good luck.
He comes out and he Mad Dog hit him a couple times and finally caught Mad Dog right on the chin. And Mad Dog grabbed him by the mouth with the one hand, swung him around, fired him out of the ring. And then Jim hit the floor. He's, oh my God. And then here comes, he says, I see a shadow. Mad Dog jumps off the apron, both feet into his stomach, knocks the wind out of him, grabs him by the mouth again, fires him in the ring. He grabs him in the headlock and he says, not that hard. So that was our experience with him. But I think the only guy that really scared me in the ring, being in the ring, was Billy Robinson.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You never knew what he was going to do.
And I've heard I think we talked about this. He was a pretty big bully, right?
He walked me into the ropes. It was a clean match. Mm-hmm. And it was an outdoor match. And he hit me so freaking hard. And he kind of walked back and left. When he came in, I caught him as hard as I could hit him.
Yeah.
Knocked him right to his knees. And after that, I had a pretty good match until at the end. And then he took advantage, when you give him your body. And I was really hot after the match. But yeah, he was no fun to be in the ring with.
That's a shoot heel move right there.
Yeah.
Jeez, oh man. Yeah, you do. I remember telling the story about Iron Sheik and how he took advantage of the Sheik and all that
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
You
Ooh,
hurt him bad in the camp.
no good. No good. All right. Couple more questions and we'll close it on out of here. Eggsy Trek Jedi for Mr. Gagne and Mr. Magnum. Jesse Ventura made an appearance for Triple H. Would either of you consider a Legends contract or appearances? Greg, how about you? You've made a
Right
couple
now.
of.
Right now.
Right now, hey,
Yeah.
Paul, if you're listening, give us all a call. I can help facilitate.
I mean, with what they're paying those guys to come in, I think Jesse's going to do they're doing some NBC Saturday night shows, about 4 of them.
Oh,
They're going to
yeah.
use Jesse for that. So,
Ooh.
Yeah, if you can't say something nice about somebody, don't say anything at all. I'm done talking about
You're
Jesse.
done. Your former governor there.
Yeah. He's a dandy.
Yeah.
I called him one day to get on Power Town and do an action figure, right?
Yeah.
And I said, I talked to Adrian's wife, and it would really be good to be the East-West connection. And he says, why would I do anything to help her?
Oh, what?
And I said, what? I said, Adrian, if it wasn't for Adrian, Jesse, in the ring, he handled everything. And he proceeded to talk for 55 minutes. I never said another word. He went on about Trump and how he should be the vice president for Trump and how he could turn the country around. I mean, he's way out there. But that one set the tone of who he really is. Adrian made that team. Jesse could talk him in the ring, but Adrian in the ring was phenomenal. And for him not to help Adrian's wife, she needs some help to do an action figure on him, and he won't do it. Man, I tell you, next time I see him, I might knock him right on his ass.
Oh man. Political. We're gonna have a debate. We should have a debate, Greg and Jesse.
You can't debate him. He never shuts up. He doesn't let you talk. Speaking of debates, what did you guys think of the other night?
Oh my God. I am very non-political party oriented. I'm very much like that, and so seeing it just seemed like a wash to me. Nobody really, I don't think. I don't know. Nobody. It wouldn't have swayed a voter either way. I think that debate.
What did you say, TA? Did you watch it?
It was a goat roping. Yeah, I saw it.
It was a what?
A goat roping. I mean,
a goat roping.
If you're gonna set something up and you get the two people that are gonna ask the questions to not even be able to pretend to be unbiased.
Yeah.
Then, it's just an insult to everybody's intelligence. But it's I don't think anybody that whole night ever asked a question that was asked of them. Because they were so. Trump would be so upset about something that had been the counterpoint that had been said before.
Said earlier on.
He wouldn't do it, and right off the get go, when Kamala was asked if she thought things were better today than they were 3.5 years ago, and she wouldn't anymore touch that with a 10-foot pole. I would if she had just honestly said, we've really made some mistakes, but I've seen the light. I want to implement these other things. Again, it's easier to ask for forgiveness than it is to insult everybody's intelligence.
Yeah,
like just say, oh, I'm not peeing on your leg. That's sunshine. It's all it's all wonderful, and. So I mean, the bottom line is, and like yourself, Dom, I'm not like a political guru or nothing. I want the country to be safe. I want it to be economically profitable for people to go out there and be able to take advantage of their hard work and opportunities. And whoever brings that to the table is really all I'm interested in. But at the end of the day, we as a country are in such a discombobulated event that the best that can be offered up is one who's never won a race of anything in her life.
Nope.
And we all know, and I won't have to, give you the innuendos of how she has had her rise to political, stardom. and then another guy who who would rather, do anything but tell the truth about anything. He's like the ultimate used car salesman, and you say this is the best that the world has got to offer on all. I mean, I would have rather seen two guys up there I'd never seen before in my life.
Yeah.
And then measured them and just unbiasedly about what they were saying than what we've got. But no, to the point, it was not a great day for America. It wasn't pretty. It was very ugly. And frankly, if there's not some change in this country over the next 4 years, it's not going to be real pleasant, because at the end of the day, you can only work so many hours and make so much money. And you got kids that want to be able to grow up and have a career and buy a house one day and have a life. And, right now, if you earn $100,000 a year and you got a family of four, you're at a poverty level.
Yeah, right. It's bad.
And that's the most embarrassing statement, for America that there's ever been. And that's the truth. It costs too much to live. Yep. And it shouldn't cost us much, because it's not because it's a better place, and it's not because of all these great opportunities. It's just been artificially created. So we'll see what happens come November, but good Lord willing, we'll still be here sitting around talking about it, no matter win, lose, or draw, whoever it is.
Hopefully we are.
We're talking about a more honest profession in pro wrestling, so I feel comforted.
TA hit it on that. I mean, the monitors of that. I saw a thing today on TV. She didn't answer one question that they asked her. She was 0 for 5.
It's all just was it when it's just like boilerplate stuff. That's what it all felt like. Is boiler. And
well, she just got under his skin to get him all irritated to show that he's going to lose his
She got Trump all
she
fired
didn't
up.
answer one question or how she was going to fix the border or anything else. And then you turn on the TV today, and I'm looking at this Port Springfield, Ohio.
I know, right, with the dogs and cats.
16,000 people, illegals, are in their state, in their city. And there's only, 60,000 in there. And the people said, you can't get an appointment at a doctor's office. You can't get into a dentist's office. And all these people are getting all this stuff free. And she said, and now they even hired some of them to be policemen.
Wow.
And they're all carrying guns.
My goodness.
They had these people on from Springfield. I felt so sorry for them. Their schools are overrun. The classrooms are overrun. The kids aren't getting the education they should be getting. And they got all these illegals in there. He said they've just taken over the town.
My goodness.
How are you going to get them? How do you, they say they're going to deport them all. How are you going to gather them all up?
It's a huge question mark. It speaks to like where the state of the kind of country is at, where it's just like everybody feels so divided that nobody is looking out for anybody when it comes on from the political landscape of things. Everybody's got their own agenda when you're a politician, and it's I think just the chickens are coming home to roost basically when it comes to how the landscape has been, and it's just like, hey, there's a reason why we have an establishment going on one side of the party, and then we have a game show host on the other side. Those are why our two options are there, and it's just like, hopefully, I think a lot of people are kind of waking up that it's like we're all kind of forgotten about. Everybody's all kind of forgotten about. It seems It's kind of frustrating.
They had another one, a picture of seven illegals that had either stole, robbed, or killed somebody. And they were all out of jail in 3 days.
It's wild stuff.
I mean,
it's definitely wild stuff.
It is. We got to get a handle on this, or we're going to be.
Hey, let's get a handle with this question.
Let's end it on a good note.
Yeah. Question for Greg from Eddie Prather. What was your favorite wrestling angle that you were involved in? Do you have a certain angle that you liked a lot, Greg? Storyline, anything like
favorite,
that?
I suppose, I guess, which was the biggest one, not necessarily for me, but was when Jim and I were wrestling on TV, Bockwinkel and Stevens on a TV match, and Bobby Heenan interfered in the match, and they did a pretty good number on me. And Larry Hennig was a heel at the time, and him and my dad had these feuds going on since they were in high school.
Right.
And Larry came in and really stopped them from doing more of a number on me. It did crack a couple ribs. I mean, it was a pretty solid angle. And the end of it, Larry carried me out of the ring in his arms. And I was on the shelf for about 3 months. Well, Jim tagged up with Larry Hennig against Bockwinkel and Stevens, and they sold out everywhere they went.
Wow.
They threw me $100 every once in a while.
Hey, Greg, we're thinking about you still.
So I remember that one. Didn't like it too well, but it worked out. It worked out good in the long run for Larry and Jim.
How about that? I love that. That's really, really cool. All right. That should.
How about TA? Ask him.
Well, okay, Magnum, what was your favorite angle? Did you have a certain one that really stands out?
I had a lot of memorable angles. I mean, honest to goodness, you know, it really is kind of amazing if you think about it, because Jim Ross even said to me one time, he said, "How did all that happen in that short period of time?" Because I mean, I had a great feud with Wrestling 2 in Mid-South that was legendary because he had never been a heel before, and you know, got to experience that whole deal, and then Wahoo McDaniels and Flair and
You wrestled Wahoo?
Do what?
You wrestled Wahoo?
Yes, that's who I won the U.S. title from when I came to Charlotte. I was in an angle with him for the first 6 months I was in Charlotte.
Did he become a heel?
Yeah, he was a heel.
That.
And he put me over right in the middle in the sold out Charlotte Coliseum inside of a steel cage with the belly to belly suplex.
Fantastic.
And he was
a heck of an athlete and a great guy.
Yeah, I mean, you know, super guy, and
yeah,
and then then followed up with Tully, and then followed that up with Nikita. So, I mean, really, some great, all of them angles, and all of them that had legs and had time with them. So, it's hard to point to any of them because they were all special.
Yeah,
in their own way, and to great point, great personalities, great athletes, people that really made their mark in the business, and I'm just glad to still be talked about, for some of those things that we did, 35 plus years ago. Be 40 years next year for the I Quit match.
Holy smoke! Seriously,
40 years.
Wow, that's wild. And Magnum, you're still getting talked about on television. They still name drop you. Taz name dropped you a couple weeks ago, I know. So
yeah, that's crazy, isn't it? I mean, that's really it's a cool deal.
It's really cool.
I'm glad to have been in that company and still part of the fraternity, and still got more in common with it than not.
Right? Absolutely. We got this more question here. Al Tuttle says, any time left for a good Andre the Giant story? No. Sorry, Al, not today.
Oh, shoot. I had that great story, too. You were supposed to remind me. God damn it.
Well, I got so enthralled with what you guys were talking about, I can't do it. Yeah, discussion about...
You save it for next week?
Next week.
I know TA's got to go to Andre's story, too.
Okay, yeah.
It's phenomenal.
I think if I remember correctly, TA named Andre the Giant. I think that's what it was.
You mean Andre named Magnum TA?
Oh, no, I meant the other... Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm just joking.
We got to hear that story next week.
Next week we'll get to that. But guys, Magnum, is there anything you want to say regarding Power Town? Anything like that? Any updates?
Just that we're working hard on all that. We have 4 different runs of things that are in the production cycle, and we're working hard with the factories to get those things made and so we can get them over here in the country to fulfill. And we have got so many exciting things coming in fourth quarter this year and all of 2025. It's going to be quite a ride.
It's going to be exciting.
Well, I know the only way we're going to get all those in quick enough is if Trump wins the election.
Oh, that's because of the ties for that.
That would help
That would
It
help.
would help.
Yeah.
It certainly would.
We'll see how it all goes. As Darren Staley said, let me see. What did he say here? We're all Patriots here, regardless of party. So I like that, Darren. It's a good way to close it off. All right, guys, if you like what you're seeing, go to fourhorsemannetwork.com, like, subscribe. Go to the OneTrueSportTV.com, like, subscribe there. Get the word out. Guys, we are going to be back in audio format for everybody coming up here. I will make the announcement here. We got a plan to have Arn Anderson and Greg and Magnum all on the same podcast feed, so you can listen to Arn's shows on the same podcast feed as Gagne and Magnum. So be on the lookout for that. We'll be sure to make some announcements moving forward with that, but we're excited to get back to the audio format as well, that you can, just another way to listen to us. So
We
get
can
the
be
word.
the three horsemen plus one.
Plus one. Hey, I like that. I like that.
You're the plus one.
I'm the plus one. I'll take
You're
it.
the plus one.
I'll take it. I'm the plus one now. I'm okay. I'm usually plus one at wedding too, so that's great. All right, guys. Hey, we'll see you next time here on Straight Talk with the Boss, Magnum TA, and Greg Gagne.